Aum Sairam. Hara Hara Shankara, Jaya Jaya Shankara. Episode 49. Shri Mahaswami, the Sage with Eyes of Light. The Diary of a Seeker of Truth. Dr.Serge Demetrian. Dear devotees, now we shall listen to the second section, part 3 of this divine book under the subtitle Around the River Arani. Baitokodiam Bedu, 25th November 1971. I became Swamiji. On this night, I woke up by 2 a.m. There was an immense experience in store for me. I was not completely in control of what seemed to be a titanic orchestration and could remember only some of the more spectacular moments. After experiencing a number of ascending currents of force, I felt established in Chandramaulishvara, that is, the same as Sri Mahaswami. It was possible to concentrate on the point of light between my eyebrows where the three bilva leaves merged. This time I had to take the initiative and fight for my breath, which became thinner and thinner. It was finer than a spider's thread, and now and then even that left me. The threat of death became evident as a cold fear overwhelmed me. This was followed by a short, sharp fight, and with a desperate effort, I gave everything to Sri Mahaswami and plunged into the unknown. Instantly, a light explosion came forth from within. It was the brightness released by the combined presence of Chandramaulishvara and Sri Mahaswami. For a moment, I believed that I would become blind, but such an eventuality faded as I realized the limitless brilliance that existed already in me. I came back then, or maybe the I feeling reappeared. The spirit of Chandramaulishvara inquired as to what I wanted and how I wanted to be. I chose that only Sri Mahaswami should be me and that only he should exist. There is no difference between him and the great goddess in the same way that there is no difference between him and Chandramaulishvara. My wish was granted in an instant. I became Swamiji. All that existed was he. The old I feeling had vanished and a novel one appeared, an I who was simply an emanation of Swamiji. A sentiment of pure happiness, stable and sure, predominated. It was not a visit or a visitation caused by Sri Mahaswami or by the great goddess in the form of Vayu, the divine wind. The old I had moved away in a clear and well organized manner from everything that had been I, so much so that the place that had become empty now came to be entirely occupied by that subtle, luminous nature which is the essence of Sri Mahaswami. The explosion of the light center between the eyebrows repeated itself twice. The liquid glow of this phenomenon poured itself onto the axis of the body, mostly in a downwards direction. I found myself as if divided into two equal halves. At every stage, I chose to become Sri Mahaswami, although there is no difference between himself, the great goddess, and Chandramaulishvara. After 90 minutes, 2 muhurtas, I came back without my intention to the corporeal realm, to the harshness of everyday reality. Some sleep and I woke up again at 5 a.m. Swamiji had not yet come out of the bhajan house where he stayed, though soon after I saw him from afar for a few minutes, then once again at 7 a.m. and then at 11:30 a.m. At the end of the afternoon, I saw him ever a new tree. He had come out of the building under a certain pretext. He was in a good mood and beautiful to behold. The attentive onlooker is invariably impressed by how Sri Mahaswami can change his public appearance according to the circumstances, often from one minute to the next. Sometimes he takes on the consistence of radiant solar matter, and it is then that the orange cloth fits him very well. In these instances, he displays himself with a clearer cloth, but it is never strident except when he is compelled to wear a shawl of garish tones offered by some visitor. He generally likes the yellow or the valkalam of the natural clear cream color. Sometimes he is a patriarch, old as the world, wrinkled and bent, the eyes almost closed, and at these times he hardly opens the left eyelids by as much as a millimeter. Sometimes he is a young man with a serene face, tender skin and quick movements, which is nearer to his ageless nature. In fact, he imitates the habits of an aged person only in order to respect the age he decides it is best to accept. Before dawn, I went to the river Arani, the same river as at Rajanagaram Pet. Everything was at peace. In India, the earth, when it is not polluted by human activities, is very calm. It is called the Mother Earth. India in its entirety bears the Mother India. Upon my return, Sri Mahaswami was just coming out for the prayer to the sun. With his danda, he saluted the sun, which had already passed the horizon. Shubhanayudu Khandiga, 26th November 1971. This morning, by 5 a.m., after a night of exceptional rest, I went to the bhajan house at Baitakodiam Bedu, where Sri Mahaswami stayed, whereas I still remained in yesterday's village. Just before 6 a.m., he came out. I saw him looking like an aged short man, lean but not ungainly, bareheaded, and the face framed by a halo of white hair. Today he seemed in a hurry. I prostrated the moment he came out of the narrow temple's yard. As soon as I stood up, I saw him coming towards me. I slowly withdrew, but he still advanced without hurrying, heading to the main road while he was tying up his clothes and especially the loincloth that was hanging half unfastened. Finally, the assistants and I understood what he wanted, to leave the village without telling anybody as he usually did. The villagers ran to prostrate for the last time in front of him as the assistants hastened to pack the luggage and to load the rickshaw as quickly as possible and to follow him. When the row of those who performed prostration finished, there remained near him only the most human of the assistants. One person at least must accompany him always, and two occasional visitors. As for me, taken by surprise, I simply had a blanket on the shoulders as protection against the cold, for the sun had not yet risen. Without any hesitation, I started following him and left my morning program unfinished without having informed my host and especially having abandoned in the open on the veranda all my luggage, including the identity papers and money. I had rarely walked along such a beautiful route. The morning was full of charm, the blessed hours of hope and joy just after the sun, master of the day, rose, and shortly before he had condescended to appear in full glory. We headed towards the east on an easy road lined by tall leafy trees with branches caressed by the thousand tiny fingers of the nascent light. Branches and leaves divided the rays and softened their impact on the peaceful clarity of the morning light that surrounded us. There were soft green hills on our left, the valley of the river and other hills on our right. Now and then the road turned on, rose in a gentle slope so as not to be boring. Sri Mahaswami was in a sparkling mood and talked with a pleasant and powerful voice in the company of White Ramamurthy, the sole assistant he had taken along with him. I was behind at less than 1 meter towards the left. When he stopped brusquely, I came to within 30 to 40 centimeters. As Sri Mahaswami stayed still for the prostration of those who passed by, he used to retreat a little, something he never did otherwise. This time he was acting so in order to bless me by his close presence. In addition to this, I had a strange feeling that as he walked, he took me as his instrument. He walked with my body. I clearly felt that it was he who made my body act. I was happy to live as a witness of his own body and his own mind, for it is a heartening experience when one is able to adore the one who takes care of the ancient body-mind complex previously inhabited by this one. To follow a Jagat Guru is a joy. The great sannyasins fulfill a part of their mission by marching Padayatra. Those who accompany them and listen to them during the walk are certainly more receptive than usual to their purifying influence. When we reached Subanadyuka Kandiga, I could still contemplate Sri Mahaswami. He sat in a cowshed and looked outside across the rickety door. A bearded and active man compelled me to sit down and swallow a bowl of semolina, insufficiently cooked and very spicy. Here in the countryside, they possess vigorous stomachs. It is also a question of how to cook, since the shortage of wood dictates the type of food that cooks quickly, the rice, for instance. For 3 weeks, I stood the course heroically. I'm tired with a bad sore throat and bronchitis. Only the special blessings of Sri Mahaswami had protected me against worst. I have just asked Sri Mahaswami for the permission to go for a few days to Kanchipuram. He accepted. I returned to Baitakodiam Bedu by bus early on the same afternoon and recovered my things without much loss, as the owner had kept them in a safer place. Devotees, we shall continue to listen to Around the River Arani in the coming episode, bowing at the holy feet of the Gurus. Aum Sairam. Hara Hara Shankara. Jaya Jaya Shankara.